The heart is a muscular organ responsible for pumping blood throughout the body. It is located in the chest, slightly left of the center. The structure of the heart can be described in terms of its chambers, valves, and major blood vessels. Chambers, right atrium, it receives deoxygenated blood from the body through the superior and inferior vena cava. Right ventricle, it receives deoxygenated blood from the right atrium and pumps it to the lungs through the pulmonary artery. Left atrium, it receives oxygenated blood from the lungs through the pulmonary veins. Left ventricle, it receives oxygenated blood from the left atrium and pumps it to the rest of the body through the aorta. Valves. Valves, tricuspid valve, located between the right atrium and right ventricle, it prevents the backflow of blood from the ventricle to the atrium. Pulmonary valve, positioned between the right ventricle and pulmonary artery, it prevents the backflow of blood from the artery to the ventricle. Mitral bicuspid valve, found between the left atrium and left ventricle, it prevents the backflow of blood from the ventricle to the atrium. Aortic valve, located between the left ventricle and aorta, it prevents the backflow of blood from the aorta to the ventricle. Major blood vessels, superior and inferior vena cava, these are the largest veins that bring deoxygenated blood from the body to the right atrium. Pulmonary artery, it carries deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to the lungs. Pulmonary veins, these are the four vessels that bring oxygenated blood from the lungs to the left. The heart's structure allows for efficient circulation of blood. Deoxygenated blood enters the heart through the right atrium, passes through the tricuspid valve to the right ventricle, and is then pumped to the lungs via the pulmonary artery. In the lungs, oxygenation occurs, and oxygenated blood returns to the heart through the pulmonary veins, entering the left atrium. From there, it passes through the mitral valve to the left ventricle, which pumps it out to the body through the aorta. The valves ensure that blood flows in one direction, preventing backward flow or regurgitation. This continuous cycle of pumping and circulation allows oxygen and nutrients to be delivered to the body's tissues while removing waste products.